Hey yo, what it did, y'all? Let's get right into. At the time of recording, it's been less than 5 days since I started the event, and I already have my mage blood. This is not to flex, however. Just a whole lot of hours, if I'm being real with you, right? Like a whole lot of hours. Is including what I think has been like one time sleeping with the game open and one time leaving it open while I was gone. I have almost 3 days slash played so far, which is excessive. It's gonna keep it real with you. This video, like I said, is not to flex. It's to talk about how I actually did it, which, yeah, a lot of hours, but there's a methodology to that, right? Which, speaking of a lot of hours of playtime, a lot of those hours were in fact streamed over on Twitch. That link is in the description if you want to come check it out and see how we go from here. And also, while you're at it, like, comment, subscribe if the video actually helps you. You can even join the Discord, all that good stuff. Now, if you're watching the footage and you know that I'm running Sanctum, you probably think that this video has nothing for you if you're not a Sanctum runner, especially filthy members of the ASA. However, I do actually have information for you guys as well, just because I think the ideology of making this money is actually more important than the methodology of making said money, right? Now, it's worth noting, I can only really provide ideology for people who did not do Sanctum because, well, I haven't done any maps during the event, like at all. My character still has not killed Katava because I told myself I'm going to do a funny thing where I kill Katava with a mage blood on. So, couldn't really go do maps if I did that, right? So, instead, you get ideology for the non Sanctumers out there. Generating this type of currency is a display of two things. The first of which is mastery. The highest div per hour you can really make is the div per hour of a player who runs the content that they love and really understand, right? Not just understand how to do, but understand how to make money out of. It's really convenient for me that the content that I just happen to really like is also insanely profitable. But I fell in love with Sanctum before we figured out that it was insanely profitable when it had 100 other problems with its implementation, right? I just really like Sanctum. Convenient, I know, right? But I've done this approach with many different strategies I've enjoyed over the year. And I even did a project on the channel way back when I first started the channel called Project Apothecary. Those videos still exist, by the way. You can still go look and see them and see how I did, 5 different characters for 5 different strategies to farm an apothecary. I never finished all the videos for that because it actually took a lot of work for me. And back then I was not nearly as committed to the YouTube thing as I am now. But the idea was still there. And I did, in fact, get my mage blood doing this anyways, right? It's just about playing a mechanic that in a manner that's profitable that you like. Because you will simply just play enough time, enough efficient time to make the money. But that's not the only thing you need. In addition to mastery of the content you're running, you need discipline. And I was going to call it focus, but it's not just focus, right? Focus implies just simply having the goal. But there's always a goal, right? You're always thinking, I want a mage blood. I want to make my character faster. I want more damage. I want more survivability. I want more this. I want more that. I call this discipline because it's about not getting distracted with all the other I wants. It's the ability to fixate on the furthest out I want, right? The one that takes the longest amount of time to get to. Because that's the thing, right? It's really easy to say, I want a mage blood. But then you think about the fact that mage blood is hovering between 180 to 220 defiance, depending on the time, and go, oh, but while I'm farming out a mage blood, I can have all of these other items. And you can say the same thing about like Nimbus at 110, Original Sin at 150, right? Even Headhunter at about like 80 falls under the same bucket, right? Where it's like, I could go for this big item. Or I could get all of these other small items. And you need to be disciplined enough to not get distracted with these smaller purchases when you have a goal in mind. Because if you've noticed my character, since the endgame showcase, I have not touched the gear pretty much at all. I think I made one small change when I did like the ascendancy swap or whatever, and that was it. Because I just don't need to make changes. The content that I'm farming is already trivial to me. So I don't need to upgrade my character more. I just need more money. This is the same mentality that I use for farming out the relic catchers and patience early, and it's what I've been telling people to do if they are asking about what to do before they get the boots. It's like make a couple small upgrades that'll put you in a comfortable farming position, then go get your boots. Like just tunnel on the boots. They do so much for you. It's that same thought process, but on a larger scale. If you get nothing else from this video, right? Even if you are a Sanctum runner, these are the two things you need: content that you are mastering and the ability to be disciplined enough to not get distracted when chasing the big goal. Now, that's enough to talk about how I did it, from a top level, from an ideological standpoint. Let's actually talk about how I did it, like the method, right? To give you the method, I'm going to give you a full rundown of top to bottom of my thoughts, which means I have to go all the way back to, before Sanctum, which has been a while since I've been there. So there's been some small changes that are relevant due to economy being different than it was, say 8 hours into the league. But so the big thing is that before you can really go into low level Sanctums, you want to have about somewhere between 500,000 and 1,000,000 DPS, somewhere in there. That depends on your comfort level with the content, right? So do with that what you will. The best way to get that early is some mixture of lab and heist. A lab, I really feel like it's just for icing off specific details of a character. Maybe you get lucky, hit a gem or two that are worth like 25 chaos, because the gems are not worth that much at all, right? And then you get the real sauce when you go to heist, especially if you've been getting those cheap contrasts from Meccano early, right? Because this, for me, talk about early heist, I'm also, or pre-Sanctum, I'm talking about before I had, my character even leveled. So I'm getting a ton of cheap contrast from Meccano. That was big because you're getting a lot of basic currencies, including some chaos orbs to, buy cheap, strong items for your build, which it's worth noting, those items are notably cheaper than they were originally. I mean, really notably, right? You, if you think about like an item like Bitter Dream was an item I paid 90 chaos for when I bought it on day 1 of the league. That was day 1 though, right? Now Bitter Dream is just 5 chaos. You could get that in a single heist if you're lucky. And now you have a Bitter Dream for your Penance Brand of Dissipation character, or whatever high priority, low cost unique that you need falls into this category, right? The other major thing that makes heist so efficient is the chaos recipe, which, if you're not aware, the chaos recipe is a recipe in which you will vendor a full set of gear, weapons, armor pieces, accessories, right? All of them, vendor, and get chaos back. Assuming that the lowest eye level piece of gear in that set of gear that you vendored is eye levels 60 to 74, somewhere in that range. It gives you 2 chaos if the full set is unidentified, 1 otherwise. And I will link a tool in the description to a GitHub program that actually just makes this significantly more efficient. Takes a little bit to set up. Very worthwhile though when you're getting your early money going. That's about it for heist though. Really, it's just make some early money, get your gear up so you can get into Sanctum. At least again for my specific method, right? Because we're on my section now. So now we're in the Sanctum. This is where I think I have the most meaningful tips that have not been provided on this channel elsewhere, mostly because I've never actually made a video covering how I do a trade league start in the Sanctum. So let's quickly run through them because it's not about really learning how to do Sanctum. One, if you're learning how to do Sanctum, I do not recommend this as your early league way to make money. This would be a mechanic you should do after you've had some money so you can afford the losses that will come with failing Sanctums. And also learning Sanctum is better done through my comprehensive guide rather than this video. Now, 1, when making money, do not fret about making the wrong currency decisions early, unless it's divines that you lost, because it's going to take time to commit the relationships between the quantities of currency and the ratio. It takes a little while to really commit that to memory, and it's likely that you're only making a mistake in the magnitude of like 3 chaos at a time maximum. So not really worth losing sleep over. 2, the bulk of the money at the earliest eye levels, right? In the eye level range I'm talking about right now, we're talking about the like 68 to 70, 71 Sanctum tomes. The ones that are being sold for about 20 to 25 chaos a piece in high bulk through TFT or wherever else that you might be getting them from. The bulk of the money in that eye level is through your divine drops and Night Lamp, right? Night Lamp is a relic that is worth like 45 chaos each in bulk. And so as such, the divine rewards will come from the reward nodes or a cursed pack starting on floor 3. You can hopefully get 1 or 2 of those in a run and get a little bit of extra currency going. But otherwise, you're just kind of hoping you drop night lamps. Which brings me to point number 3. Investing in relics early is now becoming a thing worth doing. Start of the league, this was not the case because the market just was not matured enough yet for that. Relics just altogether were really, really expensive at first. This is no longer the case. So you can now, maybe drop a quick like 2, 3 divines total to get like 75% quant on your relics, maybe a little bit more. And then you can start running, you're running the runs and you're getting night lamps a lot more often as a result, right? It'll take a couple drops to quote pay back the 2 to 3 divines worth of relics that you bought. But then you'll start to just really dump them out, right? And that's going to improve your currency creation. Plus, you'll have it for later too. So very worthwhile consideration. Up to you if you actually do it or not, right? But that's like a thing worth considering. Or on a similar note, if you can actually run Blood of Innocence, I wouldn't buy them, but if you can actually run them when you drop them, it's just they're dirt cheap, and the gamble is actually pretty like worthwhile because they're actually 2 hits now instead of only 1 hit. That is more often not the thing, which is Ellie Weeks, Physics Extra, and Despair Wither on hit. Both of them are worth something at the moment, and that can be measured in divines, and therefore makes this gamble worthwhile. Now, that's really all the tips I have for this eye level because quite frankly, you shouldn't need much more from me because if you need me to tell you to upgrade your character, brother, come on, what are we doing here? Or sister, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? What are we doing here? Next, let's glide over like the middle of Sanctum, like the 75 to 78 eye level range. And it's just because like, okay, look, I didn't spend a lot of time here personally, so I don't have a lot of I have no real feelings here, but also because mathematically this region is like, it's good, but you don't get it in bulk. And that's kind of one of the big things for me. The only real differences, by the way, in terms of rewards is that the reward stacks are slightly bigger. Not that much bigger, but they are slightly bigger, a little bit of extra chaos per stack or something like that. Like it's a little something, but it's not a lot. The more notable thing there is that like Gilded Chalice and Chains of Castigation will start dropping from the end of run, which is really nice, mind you. Also Power and Promise, but that one sucks. So we don't want to see the Power and the Promise dropping like ever. So that's a very despair drop when we see it. And like it's fine to do these. It's just mostly getting the supply. I did not farm these because I couldn't get the supply. The bulk was only ever really in the 68 to 70 range or in the 81 plus range. So I just never ran this mid range. If you can get good bulk for it and you can run them, you need like 3 million DPS for that or so. Go crazy, right? Just go nuts at that point. And now for the section that, the majority of the farming obviously took place in for the Mageblood, 81 plus, really 83s. Like I'm just going to keep it a buck with you. I ran mostly 83s. And I don't actually have much in the way of insane tips up here because a lot of the tips that I gave you in the low sanctums still apply up here. But I do have some add-ons to that. So firstly, the currency reward amounts up here are way higher than they are below. And the bubble gum currencies do actually move very well in bulk. And when I say in bulk, remember, we are non-auction house users, right? Because we don't have gold. So we get to do the like bulk rate. What the auction house gets to do with prices because they're the auction house, we get to do a similar effect, but with the fact that we just have bulk in non-gold land. And that is raise the price of an individual unit. I sell baubles at 2.5 chaos a piece, right? I've been selling at 50 chaos per 20 baubles. And that's insane because you get the early option sometimes on a run to get 30 baubles at the end of a sanctum. That's 75 chaos. That's the cost of a tome. That's just one of the many reward types. 30 alterations on the run, very nice still. Or, the 14 chaos. You get a ton of rewards, basically, is what I'm saying, currency-wise. Absolutely insane. And the other big addendum is that relics are really meaningful to your rewards now. Not just unique relics, but the magic relics. And while technically the +1 reveal and +1 merchant choice relics have been relevant before this eye level range, it's that now we also get +2 as an option for reveals or choices. You get better rolls of quant. You can start to roll those 20 plus quant items that actually sell for good money, as well as 5 to 1ing is actually worth doing because now we're dropping I-85 relics. Don't bother 5 to 1ing non-85 relics, by the way. Only 5 to 1 85s. Now, let me quickly run down some reminders of other stuff that I've talked about already in the video, just in case, you need a quick refresher, right? One, just like before, don't fret about the, currency reward mistakes, unless you just didn't pick out Divine, because then we'll cry a lot about it because that was Divines that we missed, right? But otherwise, whatever. Water under the bridge. Doesn't really matter. You make infinite money in this mechanic anyways. If you can run Blood of Innocence, do it and invest in your relics. I recommend quant relics, what I've been running personally pretty much the entire time since I've invested in my relics. However, if you want to try other strategies, check out the comprehensive guide on my channel. You can actually see some of the other options, especially like merchant. Love me some merchant strat. It's probably what I'm going to turn into at some point because my God, is it so fun playing that strategy. But as with all things, all that strategy really just amounts to blasting. It's just blasting. Because, well, the last tip is that, of course, playtime matters. It's why I mentioned my playtime earlier, right? Because it doesn't really matter just how efficient you are sometimes. Sometimes you just got to actually put in the hours, the work, right? 180, 200, 220 divines is a lot, or 35 divines per play session or two, because you could just buy an apothecary and, do that incrementally. It's why people do it so often. Because, we could both be making 8 div per hour, but if I just clock 3 more hours per day than you, that's 24 more divines per day than you. You know what I mean? Like that's why we had to highlight the playtime, because it is just a thing that really does matter. But otherwise, I feel like you have the tools that you need now in order to really succeed in the Sanctum and really anywhere again, right? Like I said, the tips I gave at the beginning of the video are for anywhere. The rest of the video was just mastery of the Sanctum, but you can apply the same idea of mastery to other mechanics, right? Now, as for me, I have no idea what's next, right? I achieved the Mageblood. This is always the thing that occurs, right? Get a Mageblood. Now I got to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So, if you tune into stream, you're probably just going to see me farming currency until I actually know what we are going to do with the Mageblood. And then video wise, I do actually have more other discussion pieces that I want to do. And if I do end up playing more of the league, I will probably end up making showing off another build. Might be high investment, might be mid investment. Who really knows? But I have no plans on stopping videos anytime soon. I have to figure out exactly where I want to head, besides a couple things talking about the event that are on my mind that I'm figuring out the sequencing of. Any whoosies, thank you guys for watching. Been loving and appreciating the support that you guys have been giving me, and if you guys could continue that, especially if you found this video helpful or insightful, much appreciated. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.